All right, what is up, Swing Trader Snacks here. We're gonna jump in and do our watch list for September 8th. Special football Sunday here. Well, it's technically Monday for me here in Thailand, but my Commanders won today, or Redskins as I would prefer to call them. I'm in a great mood. It's been a long time since we had football to watch, and it was fun to watch the boys out there today. And also, guys, very modest start at this channel, obviously, but I'm having some fun, right? I'm enjoying speaking to myself into this camera, but there seems I got some subs coming in, so thank you so much for that. If this is your second time, consider subscribing. If it's your first time, thanks for coming, hanging out, and if I see you again, hit that sub button for me just so I know that you guys are connecting to what I'm sharing here. But guys, we'll keep it quick. We'll take a look here at what happened on Friday. Okay, so we had a sell program on a gap up, right? But at the end of the day, we did see some buying and some strength. I feel like we might have got a little bit of a manipulation there. It was just too easy for them. Big gap up, they turned on a sell program and wiped quite a few out. So if we see some strength early this week, I think we'll roll into possibly even an A risk profile, which we've not had. We've been hanging out in CB risk profile here for a couple weeks now. So I think if we can see a bit of continuation this week in the indices, then we're going to be in a good place. All right, we have RSP closing above prior all-time highs and IWM getting some strength end of day as well. So again, if we get some strength in the indices, then I may be looking to put on some positions this week. If you don't know, I trade the leaders in a trend backed by growing fundamentals, and my bread and butter is a triple R setup, which we will take a look at here, Rocket Lab. And so we look for a strong company in a trend, and we look for a retracement reaction at or around our levels. Remount of the short term is our trigger for the triple R setup. And Rocket Lab possibly getting another one of my setups is a shake and go, but also setting up a second look at a triple R here on Rocket Lab. Let's get out to just the daily. All right, so Rocket Lab possibly triggering here. Soft open red to green would be a trigger for me on RKLB. CELH, been ripping, hasn't really given us a chance at a triple R since its gap up on earnings. So back over the 9 would be strong here on Celsius. Bros is a possible shake and go setup here, right? So we looked like we wanted to have a flag breakout, rolled over hard, macro, guys. This has nothing to do with the company. This was a macro sell, and if we get back over the 9, it would be a shake and go trigger setup for me here on Bros. I do like that. Palantir is still holding up. Go ahead and get this yellow line out of here, actually. Not something I'm ready to talk about just yet. Palantir over the 9 is a trigger for triple R. Okay, strong company in a trend, retracement, reaction at around our level. Remount of the short term is a trigger for triple R. VRT, VST, both look the same. I'll just do VRT here. Over the 50 is attractive to me. Would also be somewhat of a breakout of the current structure, right, over the 50. So I do like it. HWM is something I like as well. Okay, over the 50 has a look to it. Get over Friday's high would be my trigger on HWM if I were to take it. HEM's not my favorite, but over the 50 has to be looked at. Okay, you need a bit of a looser stop, which is why it's not my favorite, but this guy can move. Okay, when it starts to get squeezy, it can move. So worth taking a look at. DDOG, another shake and go entry here. All right, so we got up over the 50, shook, and back over the 50 I like on DDOG. Pay is one I really like, right? We're getting a triple R setup, so in a trend, retracement, reaction at around our level, remount of the 9, but this one I like more so because of the monthly. Look at this giant cup and handle we've got on the monthly with all this good volume coming in. This is attractive. Okay, I think this could go for a while. So if I were to get contracts on this, I might even get like 6 months out and hope, okay, that I don't like to do this much, but if we were to, here's a scenario I would possibly do. Maybe get 6-month contracts, and if we can get some buffer, you know, so that would put us April, somewhere in there, February maybe for the next earnings. And if we can get a buffer on the coming earnings, I mean a strong buffer, then I would hold through it, hoping for another good earnings report and to really push us up, because we've got an IPO cycle here, and I don't want to get too much into this, but what I do look for on the IPO cycles is a measured move. All right, so here's our cycle. So within this cycle, we have a price range and we have a time range, and I can show you time and time again where these both do repeat. Okay, so where we're looking for the price cycle to repeat, so you could duplicate this and put it up here, I would be looking for something like that, okay, at around the same amount of time, so over 3 years possibly. But within that, I think there will be plenty of trades to happen. But guys, check out IPO cycles and how often that setup does repeat. Meta, check it out, okay? In the leaders, in strong names, where they sold off, right? A lot of times you see the share lockup come out and it'll just sell off for a year or two, do a rounding bottom, change the structure, get into a trend going up towards highs, where there's a lot of trades on that. And then when it does break IPO highs, I don't like to buy the breakout, right? I like to let it break out, retest, and then buy that strength. And if you can get a good buffer, I'll like to hold that for 6 to 12 months and get a big trade out of it. So I see that possibly setting up here in pay. AGX is setting up for triple R. All right. Another one of those possible shake and goes. I just want to see what happens here because we had an earnings report. If we get an overreaction to earnings and get this back over the moving averages, look at all this volume. That would suggest that they stepped in and positioned on this going on sale off of earnings. AMSC, if we can get, let's look at SMH first. If we can get some continued strength out of semiconductors, okay? I like, which we've got basically a triple R setup on semiconductors on the ETF. I like AMSC for over the 9 triple R setup, and then I really like Rhombus because we've got another one of these measured moves. This is a box breakout measured move, right? So you get a multi-year consolidation, and when they break out of these things, come back and retest it, which is just done, right? Broke out, came back, retested, showing that it may want to go again. I'm very interested in this. This might be a position I take this week. And same deal, guys. You are going to be looking for a measured move, both. Sometimes it does it faster on the time, but have this as your idea, right? You'll likely see the measured move of the price. So what is that? 35, about 40 bucks, okay? Upside within this timeline is very likely to happen. You can look at Uber, you can look at Nvidia, that's happening on currently. I think Microsoft just did it. Quite a few. All right, again, the leaders do these kind of things when they go into a prolonged consolidation period and they finally break out of it. Let it retest, and then when it shows strength off of that retest, get in there, all right? So OUST would be our last one today for triple R that we're looking at. We've got a leader, respecting structure, pulling back, testing our level, back over the 9 would be a trigger for me here on OUST. All right, that's it for triple R today, guys, in boot camp. I can't wait to see you. Tonight is a big one. All right, we're doing market breadth, all right? And this is exactly how we have remained strong through the last 2 seasonally weak months, right? August, we were calling that if we get back over the 9 early in August, that we should get back on trend. And then I did call last week. I don't give a shit about calling. I'm not saying I'm anybody, right? But I know how to read the room. I know how to read market breadth, and I did call this being a bear trap here, which has immediately played out. Possibly got a bull trap, bear trap first week. If we get weakness today, then you could certainly look at this as a topping pattern. But if it invalidates that again, I think we get right back on the trend and start pushing, leading up into the rate cut, the policy announcement out of the Fed. Looking like we're going to get rate cuts. Guys, you'll hear a lot about seasonality and September being the weakest month over the last 20 years. It is the weakest month of the year historically, but the first 2 weeks of September are very strong typically, and then we do weaken up just a bit late September and into October. But again, we have to read the room, okay? We are not in a typical trend, right? The V-shaped recovery that we're in and all the displacement that you see from the large funds, they're in chase mode right now. And look, we've got growing GDP. We've got a lot. We've had the printers getting ready to get cut on. Money's going to be cheaper, loans, everything with rate cuts going down. There's a lot to be watching. So boot camp, excited for this tonight. We're going to teach you how to read the room, teach you how to take a look under the hood and find strength, find rotations, which I am starting to see a bit of rotation out of the leaders from this move and into some new rate friendly sectors in companies. So that's going to be fun. Guys, if you didn't catch this boot camp, I still do have the price at only 250 bucks, the price of the pilot boot camp until October 1st, where I will double it. So if you're seeing this, guys, consider getting in there if you want someone to lean over your shoulder and teach you an edge that you can leverage for the rest of your life. But not only are we going to make money, I will teach you proper risk management so you can keep it and compound it. I would love to have you take a look at that. Link is below. And all right, let's see what we get this week. Let's make some money.